Hello guys, and welcome back to my next video. In this video we will talk about what is the folder structure for Angular applications. So let's get started. So from the last video we have created this student application and here is the file structure we are going to discuss in this video. So starting with the E2E folder, which contains the all the things which are related to end-to-end testing. End-to-end testing is done after the application is created, and it is to check whether all the functionalities are working as expected from front end to back end. The next folder is the node modules. Here we all the dependencies which are installed in this application is stored in this folder, and we mention all those all those dependencies we need in package.json folder file. So here in this package.json file we have dependencies section in which we specify the dependency which we want and the base version for it, and after we run npm install command which is provided by the node package manager, it automatically installs that dependency and stores in this folder node modules. And note that this is the base version which is supported by the Angular version which we are using. In our case it is Angular 9, so the base version which is required to run Angular 9 is Angular animations. If we use Angular animations of version 8 or below in this application, then our application will not work properly. And after running npm install, the exact version of the Angular animation which we have installed, the information regarding that is stored in this file package log.json. So we don't need to do anything else. We just mention the dependency which we want and it does those things automatically. Also if we don't want to mention the dependency, we can directly write npm install and the name of this dependency which we want to use. We will look into all those things later on when we actually install the dependencies which we want. And the next is the src folder. Here the actual development which we are doing is in this folder, so we will take a look in a moment. Editor config is a file in which we mention the basic properties which it is required when many developers are working on a same project. So it is to maintain a standard among all the developers. And the next file is gitignore. This is to mention the git that we don't want all these folders and all the files which are mentioned in this gitignore. So we purposely don't want to do the version controlling on these files and folders. Also we avoid these node modules because we know that node modules is the place where all the dependencies are stored actually, and we can just get all those dependencies by running npm install command. Once we have all the dependencies which we need in this section of package.json, so if we just have this file and we run npm install, we can have access to all the dependencies which we want. The next is angular.json. In angular.json there are the configurations which are required for this Angular applications. For example, the prefix is app, so every component which we create it will have a prefix app We will look into that later on, but basically this file contains the configuration which we need to run a basic web application. So Angular here has provided all the configurations which we need. So if we want to modify anything, then only we will make changes in this file. The next is browsers list. In this file, this file is used by the build system to adjust CSS and JS output to support the specified browsers below. So we can modify this if we want to change our CSS depending on browser to browser. This karma.conf.js is the configuration file for Karma, which is the unit test case runner for Angular. So when we run test cases in Angular, this Karma is used. So this is the configuration for that. Package lock and package JSON we discussed. README is like a README file in which we can specify how to build our application, how to test our application. We can create a documentation for our application so that all the developers or anyone who views this file can understand what to do. Next, there is ts configuration.js. Angular is built on ts, HTML and CSS, and ts is required. TS is for TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. We have a feature in TypeScript that we can specify the type and which is very useful. So tsconfig.json is the configuration for ts file, and tsconfig.spec.json is the testing file. So wherever we see the prefix as .spec .something, it is for testing, it is related to testing. And the next one is tsconfig.app.json. So we can see that in this file it extends the tsconfig.json. So it's nothing but tsconfig.json, but it's more particular to the application. So we can have multiple tsconfig.app.json files if we have multiple sub projects within these applications. And the last one is tslint.json. This is a set of predefined rules which the Angular has provided us with. This is to maintain the code quality, and it gives us error if we don't follow these code quality standards. So it helps in making our code quality higher. It's like when we don't format our code properly, it gives an error and so on. And one more thing, we should install tslint extension, because what tslint will do, that it will actually show us the error wherever we have made any error. And what this file will do is just define the set of rules which we want to follow. So when we run ng-lint command, then only this we will get the errors, and it will show whatever things which we have missed. But if we have this extension, we can directly see the mistakes which we are making directly when we make them. We get a yellow underline and we can sort it out at that moment only. So you saw that I just opened this tslint and it is created by Microsoft, and I click on install and it is now installed. So we will be using tslint in this application. And now we will talk about Src folder. Here if you see, it has an app folder which is the actual code which we are doing, and this video this app folder we will discuss when we will develop something. This Asserts folder contains all the additional things which we want to store in our application, like static images or some JSON files which we want to store in our application. So asserts is like a folder where we can store our additional things which we required in our application. This environments folder is to specify whether we are in a production mode or we are just developing. So developing when the application is not ready, it is in development mode, and once the application is deployed, it is in production mode. So it holds this information. favicon.ico is the Angular icon which we see in the browser. Index.html is the only HTML file in our whole application. We will talk about it in the next video. Just for the hint, as we have this only one HTML file in our application, the applications which are created by Angular are single page application. And this next is the main.ts. It is the actual entry point through which our application starts to render on the browser. Here we if you note, we provide the app module so that when the application is running, it knows that what is the first module it should look for, and what is the module and all those things we will cover later. So for now it is not required. Polyfills.json is like if we want some dependencies or some things which should be supported by all the browsers, like the very old version of browsers may not support the latest features which Angular has, and if we want them to support this Angular, what the Angular needs to run successfully or properly on those browsers, if we need something, then we will mention here in this polyfills.ts. For example, they have mentioned one import statement here. The Angular needs zone.js to run successfully. uh, so the Angular has provided it import zone.js dist zone. So this will automatically enable all the browsers to support this thing. Next is the styles.scss. Here we will mention all the styles which we want to apply to our whole application. Suppose if I want that the heading tag should be 20 pixels in our whole application, then we will write this here saying the h1 tag, and we will mention something like the size is 20 pixels, like this. So we will not do something like this now. And this last one is test.ts. so this is the main file which runs every time when we do the testing. When we run test command, this file is executed. Basically it looks for all the files in our app folder with an extension of .spec.ts, and it runs all those files because all our testing files ends with spec.ts. And that's it for this video, and I hope that everything is clear about these folders. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.